I'm back for another character file of Out of My Mind. This time, it's the creepy middle child of Sabrina's imaginary friends, Blair. While Chloe and Felicity represent the bright and colorfulness of Sabrina, Blair represents her dark inner side. She's elegant, sophisticated, morbid, and brings a sense of terror to other imaginary friends who aren't part of her acquaintances because of her dark nature. So the inspiration for Blair comes from several sources. One is of creepy female characters in animated shows of the 2000s, like Gaz from Invader Zim. You know them, the ones that are generally very creepy and they don't smile. Yeah, that's the inspiration for Blair. The other inspiration for Blair is villains. We all love villains, especially Disney villains. So creepy female characters in animated shows and villains are the inspiration for Blair. And I want to create a character who doesn't smile or doesn't emote. They're just like very stoic. And that can be a little creepy, like a character who's just stoic and emotionless. That's a little off. And that's how I made Blair, completely emotionless and a stoic character. Though, I don't know if you could qualify Blair as a villain. Is she creepy? Yes, but I'm not sure if she's a villain. But if you guys think that Blair is the villain of Out of My Mind, go for it. I just have everything up for interpretation of Blair. What are Blair's interests? Well, she likes the macabre. Unlike Chloe, Sabrina, and Felicity, Blair doesn't watch a lot of television and movies unless there's creepy elements in it. That, or it's her turn to pick a movie to watch. Instead, she prefers to read books, mainly gothic literature. And that was another trait that was inspired by Gaz from Invader Zim. Both Gaz and Blair prefer to do their own thing, but while Gaz plays video games, Blair reads books. Blair and Gaz are similar in their own ways, but also different in their own ways as well. To go along with Blair's elegantness, she wears gowns. Lots of gowns. When it comes to coming fashion designs for Blair, I love giving her fancy gowns because I love fancy gowns. But out of all the gowns that I've designed for Blair, her green dress is my favorite out of all of them. She just looks so fancy in that green dress. And yes, her look and the dress was totally inspired by Freaky Fred from Courage the Cowardly Dog. And now you know why villains are part of the inspiration for Blair. Blair often dresses up as villains, mainly during costume parties that are held each month. And some of Blair's gowns resemble villains, like Ratigan and the Joker. I'm never going to forget Batman v Return of the Joker. That flashback scene was really shocking. I'm talking about Blair. I'm not talking about Return of the Joker. Blair's relationship with her imaginary family is complicated. Blair respects Sabrina, but Sabrina is sometimes scared of her. She's neutral towards Felicity, and Chloe, that's a genuine sibling dynamic here. Chloe and Blair's dynamic is basically the annoying sibling and responsible sibling relationship to a T. Because there are times that Chloe wants to hang out with Blair, but Blair doesn't want anything to do with her. Like, for instance, Chloe wants to watch scary movies with Blair because she knows that Blair loves scary stuff, but Blair doesn't want to at the moment. And the reason why is because Chloe cheered Blair up by watching an episode of their favorite scary 90s cartoon, The Cat Who's Scared of Everything, after Blair was let down by the fact the movie that Sabrina told her would be dark and scary wasn't as dark or scary. And yes, I'm taking digs at the fact that people have said that Pinocchio is the scariest Disney film ever, even though I've seen scarier Disney stuff. But back on to Chloe. She wanted to recreate the magic of watching The Cat Who Scared Everything with Blair again. But Blair doesn't watch movies that often. She just usually reads. While Chloe likes to hang out with Blair, Blair just sees her as annoying. And honestly, you can see why. Chloe can be annoying at times. But I'm not talking about Chloe. I already did a video about her. Let's get back on to Blair. Now it's time to talk about Frederick, Blair's pet spider. Frederick is Blair's pet spider, and he belongs to a species of spiders that eats flesh off of man or beast, dead or alive. The idea of Blair having a spider as a pet came from two sources. The first source is Taylor Swift's Blank Space music video, specifically at the beginning of the video where we see Swift in her bed with her pet cat. One of her pet cats, actually. And with me being a Swiftie, I was inspired by that shot of Swift in the bed with her pet cat, and I was like, I want to do a spin on it, but with the cat being replaced by evil animal pet. And I used Blair, and I used a pet spider as a replacement for the cat in the Blank Space video. So I drew Blair as Swift, and I have a spider that replaced one of Swift's cats, and that was the inspiration of Frederick. But not the full inspiration for Frederick, because our spider in that drawing was just a random spider. I mean, that was the old drawing, but I made an updated drawing with Frederick. And now it's time to talk about the other inspiration of Frederick, Scroop from Treasure Planet. As mentioned in my video about how Scroop gave me traumatic nightmares, how many people have died from watching that video? Oh my goodness. I said that Scroop was the inspiration of Frederick, and that came about with me watching the audio commentary of Treasure Planet. Actually, no, it's just me listening to the audio commentary of Treasure Planet. I cannot look at Scroop without freaking out and just be so terrified out of my mind. Like, Scroop is like the textbook example of the sleep paralysis monsters that you would find in your sleep. Him and the collector from Bonkers. Those two are the textbook examples of sleep paralysis monsters. Like, I do not want to encounter them in my sleep. No, no, I don't want that. Anyway, I was listening to the audio commentary of Treasure Planet, and I don't remember what the full detail, but I remember drawing an evil-looking pet spider, and I was like, wait, maybe Scroop is the inspiration for Frederick. You know what? Scroop is the inspiration for Frederick, and I'm gonna put a twist on it. I'm gonna make that spider a flesh-eating spider, and I'm gonna make him Blair's pet. Actually, now I remember full detail. It was actually me drawing like a pet show story where the imaginary friends have different dogs, and Blair has the pet spider to show, and the pet spider eats the host for being condescending, and all the other contestants were just like, no, go away. But yeah, Scroop is still the inspiration of Frederick. And fun fact about Frederick, he was initially named Jeffrey, but there was a cartoon with a spider whose name is Jeff, and I realized I can't use that name for the spider. So after trying to find different names, I decided to use Frederick to be the name for the spider, and that's how Frederick came to be. Taylor Swift and Scroop are the inspiration of Frederick. Okay, Taylor Swift and Scroop are two things that should not go together. No. And now that I think about it, Blair reminds me of Cass from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Yeah, another Courage the Cowardly Dog reference here. And the reason why is because they both have pet spiders that literally eat flesh. Sorry, the coincidence is just so insane. First, we got creepy girls like Gaz as the inspiration of Blair, and now, cats. But in all seriousness, though, I do see Blair and cats being really good acquaintances. Since they both have pet spiders, and they're generally sophisticated, and they can be kind of sadistic. Though, cats is like full-on sadistically evil, and I don't know if Blair is like 100% evil or just vaguely evil, because I did envision her to be as the dark side of everyone. And also with me, I also like morbidness sometimes, so there's that. Come to think of it, I now wonder what other villains Blair would be good acquaintances with. I just don't know. I mean, Blair does have her acquaintances, but I wonder what villains Blair will be acquainted with as well. The last thing I want to talk about Blair is that she's apparently the most popular out of all of Sabrina's imaginary friends. Like, I'll talk about Out of My Mind to some people, and they go check it out, and they're like, oh, Blair's my favorite character. Blair's my favorite character. Blair's my favorite character. And I'm just like, I think I did something good for once. And I sometimes wonder why everyone likes Blair, but I think I know why. It's because everyone likes villains, especially Disney villains. Then again, I don't know if you could call Blair a villain, but to everyone's imagination, if they think Blair is the main villain of Out of My Mind, go right ahead. I'm not stopping you. And also another reason why people like Blair is because she's creepy. I think it's a common perception that creepy characters are more popular than ordinary characters. So, Blair is popular because she's creepy and possibly a villain. And that ends this video file of Blair. I hope you enjoy hearing me talking about the most popular character of Out of My Mind. But what do you think of Blair? Do you like her? Or are there other characters from Out of My Mind that you like more than Blair?